Welcome everybody to the Tazz and Chris show. I'm Tazz.
And I'm Chris.
First and foremost, my name is the one Taz Toller. Born and raised in Denver, Virginia. 22 years old. Love gaming. Love movies, action, comedy. I'm all for it. Horror too, horror. But I'm a big fan of wrestling. Been a fan since I was like 5 years old. Yeah, and video games. Loved it. Love playing them always.
Yep. And I'm Chris Evans. I also have I love video games. For as long as I can remember, I've been playing video games and movies and TV shows and comics and all that kind of stuff. I was a little late bloomer on the wrestling. I didn't get in there until it had to be like 2008, that time frame. But yeah, I just love all things pop culture. So to start things off, though, I guess we're going to jump into wrestling. It's a unique form of entertainment. I can remember when I first got into it. It was the SmackDown before the pay-per-view where Undertaker faced Edge in a TLC match.
Okay.
So that was my first show. It was that SmackDown. Pretty iconic. I think that was a good show. That was a good SmackDown to start, I think.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, a little bit before that, what caught my eye before Undertaker was Kelly. I was flipping through the channels and there was a Kelly segment, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I had to say, the time that I got into wrestling, like I said, was around like when I was 5 years old. I didn't really watch any of it like live on TV yet. My great grandfather, excuse me, he had cassette tapes of them, and I remember one tape was, I guess it was a SmackDown one. It was a SmackDown cassette tape, and around that time, I think when The Rock was still in. The Rock was still going in, I think. And I felt like The Rock's character, I really liked his character. The eyebrow raising, trailblazing dude, love him. But as time went on, I've grown to wanted to start wanted to start doing wrestling myself. My friend who I know been known for like 10 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did a thing out in wrestling where he lived out at. He was trying to give me the opportunity to do it, but at the time I wasn't really like living out there in North Carolina really, so I couldn't find like a ride to go out there and do anything. But wrestling is a passion for me. I still watch it every now and again. I keep up with everything. Speaking of keeping up with like the latest of things, how about Roman Reigns and that Brock Lesnar match at Crown Jewel?
Actually, to be fair, I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
Oh.
I watched segments. I know they did the spot again where Brock picks up the ref by like the pants. They've done that once before. But yeah, I know that the title itself was part of the finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. And Roman, I've always liked Roman. But there's been times when the company was like, "No, you're gonna love Roman,"
right?
But like now, I do.
Yeah, it's like
it's but like when it's very forced, it doesn't feel organic. A perfect example is Keith Lee's heel turn.
Yeah,
that doesn't feel organic. It feels forced.
It feels forced. Yeah.
And the random middle name.
Yeah, Bearcat.
I don't think he needs it.
Nah.
I mean, actually, I know he doesn't need it because his time in NXT was when I was there every week, and just unbelievable five-star matches. I mean, like every week, and we've seen it time and time again when they move up from NXT. It's like the company doesn't know what to do with them past that.
Right, and it's mostly like you see when they do get called up, the main show they get called up to is Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I never
Yes.
like except for Hit Row, they got called
Well,
up to
yeah.
SmackDown.
There's
But
always those
yeah,
exceptions.
but it's like the main show that they get called up to and get completely dog that, and like their whole career is Raw. And but yeah, the whole Keith Lee thing, I'm not really for it. I've seen Keith Lee on when I had the WWE Network, his pay-per-views, matches against Dominic and for the North American Championship. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
those were the best feud. That was the best feud ever.
Yeah.
Best feud ever. But
I
yeah,
agree.
Roman Reigns, the whole Tribal Chief thing. When he came back at SummerSlam, I thought to myself, oh, they're gonna make it where they're gonna force us to like him as a face. But he hit me with the surprise heel turn, forming an alliance with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman,
Which
that was
was, and I think a lot of the success of the current character has to deal with Heyman.
man.
Heyman's got an incredible amount of pull,
hmm
and also power just in storytelling. So,
Yeah,
and Paul has liked Roman for a while,
yeah.
because, I mean, Paul goes back far with his lineage.
hmm
But I think it can never hurt your career having Paul Heyman in your corner,
Right.
both on on
Yeah.
camera and off.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Heyman has pulled his strings to make sure that Roman's character stays the way it is,
hmm
which is very important.
Yeah, because in order to get a massive the crowd behind what you're trying to do with your character, you're gonna have to get have somebody who's gonna make sure that the crowd's gonna get behind you no matter what, 100%.
Mhm.
But yeah, um,
But yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, you really now we more or less just kind of keep up with things. We don't
Mhm.
watch it from week to week,
yeah,
and I would like to think, like in my brain, my heart was like, oh, the product is not as good.
right.
Well, necessarily, that's probably not the issue. The issue now is that we're older. We've
That's
got we've got jobs. We've got other interests. So,
yeah,
like in the real scheme of things, I don't think the product
is the problem.
not necessarily worse.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be better, but I don't blame the product totally anymore. I did a few years
oh
ago.
yeah,
A few years ago, I was like, it's the product, it's not me. But looking at it now, it's just a change in interest, I think.
hmm
But with the introduction, well, not the introduction, they've been around for a while. But with AEW and what they've been doing lately, that is certainly, I think that's awakened a lot of people's wrestling fan that lay
Yeah.
dormant for many years.
hmm
Because, they're not, their production, you can tell that they're just starting. But like their basis of just starting is incredible. Like I've seen other promotions, that just started that don't look as polished as this does, and so I just think they're going to run into a problem where they have too much talent.
Yeah.
So
That's AEW. They're gaining most of the talent. They're actually gaining the talents from that WWE release.
yeah,
And
which
it's
worries me because that's
yeah,
what WCW was doing. That's what
hmm
TNA tried to do.
yeah, and you could tell they all kaput failed.
Yeah,
But I got a strong feeling about AEW trying to be in competition with WWE. Because even though AEW did grab talents from WWE, they're keeping them. It's not like they're trying to force it to be where they try to get all the WWE talents in there and go for the AEW title at the same
yeah,
time.
that's true. Yeah, because like when they bring people in, they don't necessarily even push them for the title.
Yeah, they just
Um,
keep them right there.
which is a good thing because
Yeah.
that's what things like WCW, TNA, whenever they brought anybody in that was in WWE,
hmm
they'd always push them push them as hard as they could.
And then that's like mess up their momentum too.
Yeah,
like,
because
too early.
Because once they debut and you push them to the top within a month, like where do they go from there?
Yep.
You know, I
gotta
mean,
build like they
they've
gotta
done
build
it.
what? Yeah.
like
as soon as they get in there, like, oh yeah, go ahead, go for the big shot. You got it.
Title match, boom,
right there and there.
Yeah.
But then it messes up their momentum to the extreme because once they get in there and like you said, if they go for the big shot title, a month later, it's gonna come crashing down. Fans might not get behind them like that.
Yep.
And it's gonna make the show, the product, the show forever gonna make the show look terrible 10 times.
Mm-hmm. But like, I like what they're doing with CM Punk because first of all, CM Punk back in wrestling is a statement I thought that I would never say because I remember a few months ago we were talking at work and like I said, wouldn't it be cool? And like immediately after that, I said, I know it's not going to happen, but and it did happen, and it was just as good as I think I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had he's had good matches, and I like that he's trying to elevate younger talent.
Yeah, not trying to like. I mean, even though he's winning the matches, it's not as if they're going to say, "Oh yeah, he's like burying talent."
That's the thing. Like they aren't squash matches.
Yeah,
like they're like matches.
They're like
which
30
is
some plus minute matches. That's 5-star at the most.
Yep. So you know what they're doing with Punk is just a great example of how they're taking their time with. Because I'm sure he'll get a title opportunity, but there's no need to rush that. I mean, he seems to be very happy with where he's at. He seems to have a lot of creative control, which has always been important to Punk.
Right.
So like, there's no need to rush that, and I think they can really orchestrate, and really plan out a good rise to the top if they wanted to. And like, and Punk may never want to do that. He may never want to be that guy again.
Right. He just wants to like come in there, elevate. Where some people may look at the younger talents like they don't have it no more. But then he comes in, elevates them, and then have the fans like, oh, maybe this is the guy we want to see. If this guy can go toe to toe with CM Punk, who did crazy over at WWE, then we're gonna get behind that guy 1,000 steps, 1,000%.
Yep.
So
see, that's the thing, because like when I first, this will tell you the time frame of when I started. CM Punk was still in the ECW that was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
So like that's when I started watching, and like I've been a fan of Punk ever since then. Even in theater for my final. It was in high school. My final piece that I had to do in theater was like a monologue, and I did the pipe bomb.
Oh,
like I memorized it. I don't know it all now, but I memorized it. That's how much of an impact that moment had on me, and I think on wrestling as a whole. But yeah, but like AEW, I think it was the best step for Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I love Adam Cole. I was there when he debuted. No, I wasn't. I was there for most of the Undisputed Era where they were running, where they had all the titles. I was there when they won all the titles in NXT. And I know that he had some of those good matches on that Survivor Series one year that was SmackDown versus Raw versus NXT. I remember that. And then he also did very well. It was right after Crown Jewel one year, and SmackDown didn't have most of their roster.
Yeah.
So the NXT guys had to come in.
Yeah, I think that wasn't the build up to Survivor Series, wasn't it?
It may have been.
I think so. Yeah. It was the build up to Survivor Series. That's what brought them over to SmackDown. Because it was him against Daniel Bryan.
And Daniel Bryan was WWE champion, and then Adam Cole was NXT champion. And that was a great match. It was a great segment. You know, they used the Undisputed Era
Mm-hmm.
perfectly, but you could tell that Triple H had a heavy hand in making sure that that match looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know what's crazy is that we can see that match
And
again
yep, and AEW.
in a different promotion.
That's right. That's true.
But like I feared for Adam Cole on the main roster
Oh yeah, of course.
because
As you can see with Keith Lee, what they're
Keith
doing with
Lee, you
Keith
can
Lee.
see with even Damian Priest.
Dan
Damian Priest
Priest.
is doing great,
Oh yeah.
but like he could be so much more than what they have him right now.
Yep.
Finn Balor is another perfect example.
Karrion Cross.
Karrion Cross, they completely.
Mm.
I don't even know what they're doing with this
I
character
don't.
anymore. Did you see that post on Instagram where he was in a suit?
Yep.
Like an actual suit. So it almost looks like they're changing his character again. It's just like
They don't
like
know what to do.
his character was fine in NXT. It didn't need to have this like weird like armor Roman
Yeah.
Empire.
That did
Yeah.
not. They should not. They should have kept him as how he was. Yeah, in NXT.
Yep.
Because him as the NXT champion, that made also people who didn't have the championship, but although so close to getting the championship, or people who, like I said, had the championship, made them look good also.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we got this guy who's terrifying, and if people can like go head to head with him, then the fans will get behind them 1,000%, and then
Yep.
that can boost them up to being NXT champion.
Yep. I mean, it's all storytelling. And a lot of people, of course, I mean, this isn't like some little secret. Like it's quote fake is what people call it, but it's predetermined, which I think is very different. Like they know what the ending is going to be, but like it's not about knowing who's going to win. It's about how you get there.
Yep.
Because there's been plenty of matches where I could tell you there are entire pay-per-views where I can tell you what's going to happen, and it happens that way, and I still enjoy it because it's the journey there. It's not the end result.
Right. It's like you said, the storytelling. The storytelling is what makes us as fans want to get more into it. Like I said, when Roman Reigns came back and the whole tribal chief thing started, his first opponent was his cousin.
Yeah,
that made
which was crazy.
That made us look at Jay like, oh yeah, if he can do this to Roman Reigns, go head to head with Roman, we can get behind him.
Yeah, it really elevated him to a main event star, which is what they need to do. I'm tired of seeing, like, I love Seth Rollins, I love Kevin Owens, I even like Sheamus, but like they keep pushing them into the title picture and not elevating younger guys.
And I'm not trying to give other people a chance. Not give other people like who's in, as they say, quote unquote, mid card, a chance to go to the main event. Get to the main event spot, or contend for the main event spot. Like I would like to see, in my opinion, Ricochet.
Yes.
Go to main event spot. You know what I'm saying? Like he got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He got it.
He's got it 100%.
But it's the fact that once he got called up, I had high expectations.
Yeah, it's like Ricochet was one of those people when he got pulled up. I was like, well, AJ Styles is doing pretty good, so maybe Ricochet will do good. And it was just
shut
dust,
it down.
Dust in the wind.
Ah man, it's crazy. But if they could take, I still had that belief with Ricochet because they did all with Kofi Kingston, for an example.
Oh yeah.
Throughout how long, like 11 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
Was 11 years?
Yeah.
Throughout 11 years, he's been mid card.
Tag champ, US, and
and
nothing more.
Continental. He had I think he had at least a shot when he went against Randy Orton for the WWE title.
Long time ago, and that was essentially Randy Orton burying him.
Yeah, that made that kaput.
Yeah, like that was. I think that technically wasn't a squash match, but it might as well have been because of the way Randy the way Randy treated it, like you could tell, Randy Orton's always been one of those guys when he's on it, he's on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell when Randy Orton is phoning it in, and that was one of those matches where he was just phoning it in.
Yeah.
He wasn't even trying, and that really hurt Kofi's character because you were like, well, Randy's not even trying. He's
it's making him making the person who's trying to like Kofi, making Kofi look bad.
Yeah,
which makes us like, well, if he can't hang with the champ, then why should we root for him?
Yep.
But Kofi, he stayed in, did what he had to do to get up to that spot, and made us believe in him
to the point where he won, and then lost to the Brock. But and then now Big E is getting his time to shine, and then King Woods, or King Xavier. Which I don't know what they're going with yet. I think they've changed it twice already.
Yeah,
they initially went on that SmackDown King Xavier, and then on that Monday King Woods. So I don't even think they know what they're going for there.
Yeah.
But I just love to see talent like that get an opportunity, even if it is King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
But King of the Ring is a big deal. I mean, a lot of people that were King of the Ring went on to be champions.
Stone Cold,
Bret Hart.
Yep. Sheamus.
Yep. Few others. I'm sure we're missing. But I mean, you get it. But yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting time to be a wrestling fan, mostly in part because of AEW. It's actual competition. It's also it's better to be a fan now because I'm telling you, with that COVID empty arena stuff, because I watched the WrestleMania that year. And that was before they were adding those screens. Mm-hmm. That was before they added the cheers and the sound effects.
That was
like it was a empty, dark arena, and it.
I felt.
I made a point to watch a few of those matches.
Yeah.
I actually I watched the Undertaker AJ match, which was a great match.
Great match.
Spawned a great meme.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was weird, and it obviously got better when they added the screens
and the
crowd sound effects and stuff. That actually, I mean, that helped. I mean, it was a better product then. Mm-hmm. But with actual fans, there's just something about it that's unlike anything else.
When you actually see the crowd and you hear the crowd go crazy, even when I'm watching the TV, when I'm watching it on TV, I feel like I'm there. Like I get I feel like I'm in the front row. Reach my hand out to get a dap from one of the superstars.
Yeah.
But the COVID phase, WWE, it was. I still tried to support it.
Yeah.
But
but it was hard.
It was hard. It was hard to support because it's like it's so.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't. I couldn't get behind it.
This ain't it, Chief.
Yeah, this ain't it right here. But then I'm glad they added the screens and everything and the crowd noises. They made it better for us to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And then also the people who were on the screens made it feel like they were there even though they weren't really there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I was for that.
Oh yeah, me too. All right, well I say we jump to the next topic here. Halloween Kills. So I think what we'll do here is that maybe we'll watch a new movie, about once a month, and we'll give it a rating. But I want to hear your thoughts before you rate it. I say we both give our honest thoughts on it,
okay,
and then we give it a rating at the end, like a 1 out of 5.
All right.
Okay, so just tell me your thoughts on the movie.
My thoughts on the movie is, why did they bring back the survivors, but yet kill them off so easily?
Oh yeah,
Tommy Doyle. That was he shouldn't have start up a whole riot and then go on and on about the bat, one swing, and then just get sliced and diced in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that. But my honest thoughts about the movie. I've actually, I actually liked the movie. The movie was good. You know, they really didn't focus on Lori as much as I thought they would.
Yeah, because the
But
trailers were misleading.
yeah, the
The
trailers were
trailers
really
really made it.
misleading.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing that really took me back. I was
Yeah.
like, well, this isn't at all what I thought it was.
Right, exactly. But, they did try to like focus at least, on her family, like her daughter and her granddaughter, really trying to like hunt
Yeah.
down Myers,
Mhm.
and her daughter stand there trying to, protect her. But overall, the movie, I actually liked it. Like I said, why did they bring back Tommy, the survivors, and then they
Mhm.
just get killed off easy peasy lemon
Yeah,
squeezy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So like, I'm on a similar page there.
mhm.
The trailers were very misleading. And like we all knew before this movie came out. I'm not gonna say we all knew, but us being who we are, we like spoilers. Even though, it's just something about a spoiler. I can't resist it.
I gotta see a spoiler.
So like we knew there would be another movie after this to complete the trilogy.
Yeah.
And after watching this one, it was very obvious to me that the studio was like, this is just the middle movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like a middle movie in a trilogy. And it was weird that they focused on the survivors of that night to only have them just like gone
like that.
The kills, those kills were something else.
And
they were
the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I would say he racked up about 15, almost 20 kills already in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to count all those firemen. Like that was a slaughter. They didn't even stand a chance.
No, he went complete savage mode on them.
And then I think my favorite kill out of the whole movie was when the girl dressed up in the nurse outfit had the gun, and he kicked the door at the right time and she shot herself in the head. There was a level of like I was tense because it was a very tense moment in the film. But when that happened, I laughed out loud. Like I laughed because it was just like that was so badass. And another thing with the survivors, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like the movie wanted you to root for the survivors, but like as slasher horror movie fans,
you got to root for the killer.
Root for the killer.
You root for the killer every time.
You always root for the Jason, the Freddy Krueger, the Michael Myers.
Yep. But especially in this movie right here, I was really rooting for Michael. I'm like,
because like these people,
they especially the scene where they thought the escape.
He didn't even look like Michael.
Didn't look nothing
that's
Myers.
That's
what made me like, okay, just wish Michael just come in and just slash and gash all of them.
Because like it was very obvious. And another thing that I think the studio was trying to do was trying to make you understand that the town is just as
scared.
Like the town is a monster in itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Like given enough fear
that they would try to
they would turn on anybody.
That's true.
With no logic. It's that mob mentality.
Yeah.
Which is always scary in small towns because we live in a small town. And watching that, I was like, that could easily happen here, and it scared me.
Right.
It's because like how easy that mob mentality can happen. So like that hit home because I think, and there's tons of small towns around America.
Yeah.
So that was like intentional. They did that to make you realize, hey, like Michael Myers maybe can't happen, but like this one scene was like that could happen to you, and it was very scary. And I thought Lori was going to be a bigger part of the movie, and she wasn't. And I think to have a good Halloween movie, you gotta have Lori and you gotta have Michael, and they didn't interact
at all. That's true. At all
in this film from start to finish. They
did not interact.
They didn't interact at all. I mean, given she had this badass battle at the end of the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, at the end there when spoilers. I mean, we probably should have said that earlier. But it's been out for 3 weeks. If you haven't seen it at this point, you're not going to see it.
You're not a true Halloween fan if you haven't seen it by then.
Like, I knew that the mom trying to get him, I was like, they're trying to set him up and ambush him. I was like, I don't like it, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, I hate this. It was borderline cringy. I was like, this isn't going to work. I don't know what this crowd is thinking.
No, exactly.
Especially with Tommy Doyle and a bat.
Yeah, I actually thought, me and my friend was watching it the night it came on the Peacock.
Yeah.
We sat there, and I was like, well, this is it for Michael right here. He was like, nah, not it for him. This is Michael Myers time. I'm like, you sure? Because I'm thinking my whole thought was, in this one, Michael, dies, and then the granddaughter, because if you think back to the first one,
yes, okay,
she held the knife in her hand.
So, you're on the same page I was at the end of that movie, because this isn't the first time that's happened. I remember a few years ago, I don't remember, The Curse of Michael Myers, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where, they got rid of Michael, but that evil was transferred to the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And, which they completely retconned at the beginning of the next movie. Like, it was all a dream. Which was weird. But, I was under the assumption at the end of that movie that the evil was going to be passed on to somebody else. And the way she was holding that knife at the end before the credits hit made me think that maybe she was going to become that evil. But, I think it's, it's always that point of, this has kind of always been the theme of all the Halloween movies, is that you can't kill evil.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Myers is pure evil. And even though the town knows him as Michael Myers, if you see it on the credits, he's actually called The Shape.
The Shape, yeah.
He's literally just the embodiment of evil. So, of course you can't get rid of it.
You can't.
But, I'm interested to see what they do in the next one. Yeah. Because, because at the end of that one in 2018, I was almost confident that the granddaughter was going to be.
Yep, the next embodiment of evil.
Yeah, but and then this one came out and it was nothing like I thought it would be.
Nah.
So there's a good possibility that the next one will completely shatter what I expect it to be.
Also, another thing, I'm gonna put this in there. When the sheriff was talking to Lori in the hospital, they were both in the hospital.
Yeah,
it was saying something about reflection. Mm-hmm. I kind of almost had a sense that Lori's daughter, was gonna, become, the next embodiment of evil too. Because at the end, when she was standing at the window at a reflection,
Michael as a child in the window,
and just then but right then and there, he straight up just gutted her. So I was like, that took my.
Yeah, that was a moment when I was like, okay, I know what's happening. And then that happened, and I was like, never mind.
Right, exactly.
What? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that took away two of my assumptions away quickly like that. So
yeah. All right, so what would you rate it? 1 out of 5. 1 being the worst thing you've ever seen, and 5 being the greatest.
I would rate it a 4.5.
4.5?
Because, like I said, our boy Michael it's still reigning.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I didn't really care for was the whole survivors thing. But then they also get killed off quick as possible as soon as he get near them.
Yeah.
So I rate it 4.5.
4.5. Now I feel bad. I'm going to give it a 3.5. So a 3.5.
Okay.
It's very middle of the road. It didn't shock me per se. But it didn't suck. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So what's the next thing we have here on our list?
Next thing we got is Disney
Plus Marvel shows so far and to come.
Ooh, my favorite thing.
So Marvel on Disney Plus has been knocking it out of the water.
They are killing it every time.
It started with WandaVision.
Yep.
which the first few episodes, I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
Exactly.
But like that was part of its charm. Like you
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. And then obviously, it became this thing where she was running through TV shows in her mind and stuff. That was a great show. Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Love that show.
was great because I'm a big Captain America fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wanted to see what would happen next with that lineage. And it was very obvious in the beginning that Sam didn't want it. He didn't feel like he was up.
Yeah.
He was up to par, I guess you could say. But I love how he came full circle in that one. And then you had Loki, which I would have to say Loki. Like I loved WandaVision, and I loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I thought WandaVision was a better show.
Okay.
But then Loki came along, and I was like, "Oh, and then there's that fan theory that the ending of WandaVision syncs up with the ending of Loki. Where Kang, he doesn't know, he can't see into the future anymore.
You're right.
It also lines up with her becoming the Scarlet Witch. Getting her full costume and everything.
Yeah.
So it was Loki was great, and then you had What If.
What if, like, I was waiting impatiently to watch What If.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know, how they're going to bring in some of the people. I thought that when they did What If, it was going to take off from Endgame or Loki, whichever one that I thought it was going to start off from.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And I liked it. I loved it. What If was, I'm going to put that as my number one Disney Plus Marvel show that I like. I'm going to put, it's a top, all right, I can't really like rank them as though I liked all the shows that Disney Plus had put out. I actually liked it. Like I said, with WandaVision, at first I was skeptical about it. I was like, I might not really like this at all. But, it's like for me, it's as if it's like when I'm like, I don't like the show or I'm not going to like it, then boom, the next episode come and it piques my attention. I'm like,
yeah.
See, that's why, you got to keep watching stuff because you never know when you're going to, like it at some point.
And Disney's super smart with them doing one episode a week. Because, it's a streaming service. They could easily put all the episodes there, and then, be done with it.
Right.
But it really keeps people talking when you do one episode per week, which is something I think that Netflix should really take into consideration there. But Disney Plus, all their shows are just blowing it out of the water. And then another thing about What If, and I don't know if it wasn't really. So my intentions going into What If was that it was going to end in a Endgame-esque fashion.
Okay.
And I don't think that was the way you were supposed to go into it thinking.
Yeah.
I think I overanalyzed it and then came up with a conclusion before they wanted me to know. Because I went to film school. So, I'm not saying that to brag or anything, but, there are certain things that I can pick out. And I'm like, I think this is going to happen. And it did. So, it wasn't that much of a shock to me that, all of those different characters from those different universes came together to stop Ultron.
Ultron. Out of everybody, Ultron.
And, I really thought I knew where it was going until Ultron could see the Watcher. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a whole different thing.
My thing is when Doctor Strange first knew that he was being watched, I was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, so can everybody else know that they're being watched? Apparently not, because if you think about it, Doctor Strange, we're going to give a little thing about the next, thing with Doctor Strange, the multiverse.
Yes.
So it's as if he's already knew that he could already go into the multiverse here and there. That's how he was able to see the Watcher and know that he was being watched the whole time. Which I like that they put that little bit of tease in there for the next Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
Because
Doctor Strange, you can tell is going to be a big part of what is it? Is this Phase
this,
4?
this Phase 4 right here. Yep.
This is Phase 4. You can tell that Scarlet Witch
Mm-hmm.
and Doctor Strange are going to be a big part of this, which makes sense because we've lost Cap, we've lost Iron Man.
Yep.
Thor is off with Guardians of the Galaxy, so like
and, Hawkeye, I guess he's officially retired ever since.
See, that's another thing. The show's coming out.
That's true. That's true.
The Hawkeye show, and I've got a lot of I've always liked Hawkeye, and I've always liked Black Widow, but they didn't have their own movies. But with Black Widow having her own movie, I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. That was a nice movie.
And then Hawkeye, there's no way that this is going to flop with it being Disney Plus Marvel.
Right.
They're just on another level. They don't miss.
They don't. It's very true. Like, I heard a lot of things that people were saying, probably like not Scarlet, but the Black Widow movie was not as good as they thought it was. But when I finally got a chance to watch it, I was thinking, probably people was thinking like this was, her actual thing, or her
origin story.
Origin story, which is kind of was, but it didn't take it from her origins. They took it from after Civil War, which I kind of like that they did, because it brought her back to her origins. Yeah,
well, see, the thing with Black Widow, is of where she was set up in the MCU. I don't think you really needed to know her origin. She's a spy. It's gonna be a complicated past anyway.
Right.
So I don't think you necessarily needed an origin story, but that story that they told with just her was awesome. I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and then Hawkeye, the show looks like they're gonna bring in his daughter as, I can't think of what she's called in the comics. Anyway, but she's a very similar Hawkeye type character. And it almost feels like they're setting up for the Young Avengers.
Yep, either the Young Avengers or the anti-Avengers,
the Dark Avengers.
Yeah, the Dark
Avengers. Is what it's called. We
already got John Walker's Captain America.
Yes.
From
yes. So he's U.S. agent.
Yeah. And then we got, if you saw at the end of Black Widow, they got
her sister.
So that's already two that they got. So,
and then it's always the possibility of there's somebody else. Zemo. Zemo would obviously be almost like an Iron Man
type, Iron Man type,
brains of the operation type thing. But there's a lot coming in Marvel, and then we still haven't got anything from Fantastic Four. I thought for sure that in WandaVision we were going to get a teaser, but we didn't.
We didn't. When they said about the person who worked on Quantum, I was like,
that she had a contact.
I was like, for sure.
I was like, this is Reed Richards.
Reed, bring him in. But they didn't do it. They didn't hit on the button with that, which is also kind of a good thing, because they probably don't want to, I'm not going to bash the old Fantastic movies. I loved it. The first, the original ones, they did good, but the reboot, I'm not so.
The one that's
very dark.
Normally called Fan Four Stick because of the way that logo was made. It looked like it said Fan Four Stick. I didn't even watch that. I refused to watch it in theaters. Because I was just like, it just doesn't look good, and and we already had the MCU at that point, so there was no excuse for it not to integrate. And when I knew it wasn't, I was like, well, then what's the point? What's the point?
Then when they brought in with Phase 4, they're bringing in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I got a good feeling for the Fantastic Four. I feel like the Fantastic Four is finally going to get the recognition that they deserve.
Yes,
all that. Another movie that I can't wait for in MCU Phase 4 is my boy Blade.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of the movies that Wesley Snipes, he did his thing, and the original Blade,
the original 3.
Yeah,
I think it was 3 of them.
Yep, the trilogy. I loved it. Now they bring it in with the MCU. They're gonna make it even. They're gonna elevate it even more better. So I'm all for it.
And then you have eventually Ghost Rider, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they should have the Ghost
And,
Rider.
they're doing, I can't even think of his name, but it's not the traditional Ghost Rider. It's like the new Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I'm going to have to look this up because it isn't a bug me. Robbie Reyes.
Okay.
So it's, they're, I don't think you don't necessarily need Johnny Blaze. I think having just Ghost Rider in general would be awesome. But he's a very different type of Ghost Rider. From what I can see here in this picture, like he's got swords and a car instead of a bike.
Yeah.
So he was like a stunt, like a stunt driver for a car, not like a Daredevil like Johnny Cage was. Which is another thing. Daredevil may be in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if you've ever watched the Daredevil Netflix show.
I watched a little bit of it. My sister, I think, got in, like, she watched it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't really finish it. I might go into it, and look at it from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's definitely something I didn't finish, but I got 2 seasons in. I think I'm missing 1 season. But yeah, that was awesome. And that guy they have playing Matt Murdock, Daredevil, perfect. Like he is Daredevil. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So if he was in the MCU, that would only open up more doors. And then the rumors. I wouldn't even call it a rumor at this point. I feel like it has to happen. But Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
It got to happen because you already got.
Because you've got the other villains.
Yep, you got the Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire in it, and then you got Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you could bring the villains from there, you gotta bring in Tobey and Andrew. Yes. It's only right.
Yeah, and so and. It's probably one of those moments where like the fans just want more than what is possible. But I hope it's not because, like that's gonna be something I'm gonna try to see the day it releases. Like I'm not letting, I'm gonna take extra precaution like I did with Endgame. Like I'm not gonna let.
Look,
I'm a sucker for spoilers,
but try not to look at spoilers.
Like I'm gonna try my hardest on that one tonight,
because it's like movies like that you want to
see firsthand.
Yeah, see firsthand. Like see it right then and there. Once you don't see it, if you procrastinate to watch it, eventually you're gonna see people put up on YouTube, this happened, that happened. Now I'm not trying to look at all that. I'm just want to
and it's always it's always I can't believe this character dies, then it's like the outline of their character with the question mark in the middle. But you can clearly tell who it is by the outline. Like, why stop?
Like stop. You cannot do that to me. No. Like with Endgame, I tried my best to not. Cause I don't think I've seen it on opening night.
I know a week later. I didn't see it opening night, but I think I saw it within the next 2 days or so. Because I was in Florida at that time, and we had a huge friend group, and we all went together.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like day of, but I saw it pretty close. Yeah. And we were all like hardcore, don't look at any spoilers.
Right.
Like anytime someone would be like, "Oh, I heard." No. Yeah. So
because a friend of mine and his girlfriend at the time, they went and saw it, and she had like posted up on Snapchat, and she was like, "You're not gonna believe what happened in Endgame." And I was like, "Don't put anything else up." And I tried not to look at her story because I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna look at it because I'm not trying to get spoiled on anything. I want to go and see it firsthand." And then it was like, just be prepared to like cry. And I'm like, don't tell me to do that. Don't tell me to do that. I don't want to.
It's one of those moments where like I will legitimately stay off of social media,
right?
Which is hard for me because I'm on social media a lot.
Yeah.
Like YouTube's not safe.
YouTube.
Twitch is certainly not safe.
Facebook is most definitely not safe.
Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, none of that is safe. So like I have to live like I don't have a cell phone. Like that's how bad it gets. It's crazy. But yeah, Phase 4 is something else.
Yeah, Phase 4 is going to be off the charts.
Yes. I do remember in Endgame, my favorite moment was when Captain America used Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in that theater having to grab the bottom of my seat because I was about to jump up. I was so excited. Like I literally had to grab the seat because like I'm a huge Captain America fan. It's kind of more or less where I got my YouTube name, Captain Snowflake. But like Captain America's always been my shit. And like when that happened, I physically grabbed my seat because my legs were about to yeah.
I would say that would be my favorite moment in Endgame too, because when you saw, you looking at the screen, you see Thanos beating up Thor, then all of a sudden you see Mjolnir reaching above the ground.
You're like, okay, Thor's.
Thor, calling to him. But you got to think, if you was really focused on backtracking and everything, you got to think back to Age of Ultron when Tony Stark had the party at his
yes,
penthouse.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
And Cap he nudged the hammer a little bit.
Yeah.
And that made Thor worried. I'm thinking right then and there, Cap could have picked it up.
He could have done it, but I think Cap, being the person he is,
he didn't want to embarrass Thor.
He not only didn't want to embarrass Thor, but he knew how bad that would hurt his confidence. in future battles.
Going into the future battles.
So I feel like he could have always done it,
and
the reason he did it then is because this is life or death.
Right, because Thanos just now. I could have sworn we just killed him 5 years ago.
We can't lose again.
Right, exactly. That was the best. That was the best moment. Another best moment is when you see Captain America standing up against Thanos and all those armies, portals. And then all of a sudden you hear Sam Wilson saying on your left, and then the portal come through, and my boy T'Challa walks through with Shuri.
Oh my god, dude!
I love that. I was like, that's the moment where the whole theater where I was at, they screamed like no other. It was like, everybody's back. Like everybody came back. The snap worked. So
that was another great moment. I remember, like you said, that entire theater was just erupting. And then what made that even better is because Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, we learned after. That he was battling cancer and nobody knew.
Yeah, he the fact that he went through all the movies that he did.
Because they filmed Endgame the same time they filmed Infinity War.
Okay.
It was all one long production.
Right.
So he did all of that
while battling cancer.
That
was that's the thing, I was very, very hurt about, and even going on to the next Black Panther movie, you gotta wonder
how they're going to do that
with him, because
within the MCU, within the story.
Yeah, because I think they did a little bit of filming of the second Black Panther while he was still battling cancer too.
So I mean, and some of those clips may not be able to be used anymore because I'm assuming they had to change the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and but yeah. That was a celebrity death that hit me pretty hard. When it was announced, I was just like, that day.
I didn't want to believe it myself. I thought people just playing, just saying stuff on Facebook until I actually looked into it. Yeah, and it was really true.
Yeah, that's honestly the first celebrity death that hit me as hard as if a family member died. Because Black Panther, I think, was one of my favorite MCU films of that phase, probably ever. Because I really like Black Panther.
Yeah,
I like the idea of Wakanda and there being a whole lineage of Black Panthers. I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we just finally see that on screen with a guy that
who actually portrayed him very, very good.
He was King you know,
yeah, that I think the Chadwick Boseman was the best option
to
to play as
play.
T'Challa.
Yeah,
Where I think as if they were, I'm thinking, in the next movie they can't find nobody else to take his spot. They're going to have to either make it as
you Shuri.
Shuri to be the next Black Panther,
Yeah,
or that's it. That's the only thing I can think about.
yeah, because Killmonger's. Yeah.
Yeah, dead and gone.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it's obviously going to have to be Shuri, which I'm okay with,
Mm-hmm.
because she would bring a different element to it. Like, she'd be more tech based,
And it would
but
and it would
still
also be
be like,
following comic wise too.
yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy that lined up like that. I wished it didn't have to line up like that,
Right.
but it did, and I have faith in Marvel. They're not gonna flop on that one. I
Mm-hmm.
think, because I think there's, if any movie has to succeed, it's Black Panther 2. Like, it's got to be the best thing that we've seen,
Yep.
just to honor him.
Right. Because I watched Black Panther so many times that when it comes on, I can literally I can say most of the lines word for
Yeah.
word, and
Yeah.
I just because my
It's a great
girlfriend,
movie.
my girlfriend, I watched it with her one time, and I was saying the whole monologue with the first challenge, and my girlfriend was like, "You're gonna be doing this the whole time, are you?" I was like, "Nah," and I just kept doing it again. Like,
Yes.
okay, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, this is my last time doing it,
Yeah.
and I'll do it again. I'm like, okay, for real,
Yeah.
my last time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great movie. But going back to Goosebump moments when the portals opened,
Mhm.
and Sam said on your left. There was something on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, but during that montage where Sam Wilson was training to actually be Captain America, if you noticed when he's running, he's leaving room on his right for Steve.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
running on the left in all those shots.
Yeah.
Like, whenever he's running, and he's running by himself.
Mhm.
He's training by himself, but he's leaving that space on his right
Okay.
for Steve, because he was always on his left.
That's right. That's true.
That was a moment I saw that on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that just made that entire scene even more like
Mm-hmm.
of a big moment.
So, also sort of kind of like a little callback to which one was it? It was Captain America
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
Yep.
When you see Sam Wilson training, jogging,
Yeah.
and Cap is like running behind him, always saying on your left. And it's like, it's a callback to those moments too, where it's like,
Yeah.
the only thing you can do is, just embrace it and feel happy, emotional for it, because especially me, I'm like that. I'm that type of way.
Yeah,
That type
yeah.
of person where it's like, I think back to that stuff, like stuff that happened before. I'm like, that's like, that happened before, and it makes me feel really good about it all.
Yeah, because it's those attention to details that
Mhm.
really matter to fans.
And that's the thing that Marvel always does.
Yes, and like, I love DC. I
DC,
do. I
yeah.
love DC, but like, they cannot get a movie verse going to save their life.
Nope.
Like,
They found. I feel like they found a little bit success with Aquaman and Wonder Woman,
yes, those were good movies.
and the Zack Snyder version of the
Oh,
Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
That right there,
Mhm.
longest movie ever. Loved it.
Oh,
Longest
yeah.
movie ever.
And it's funny. I went into that thinking,
Right.
like how much is this really going to change? But like, there was it
A
changed.
lot changed.
It took a story that didn't really make sense to something that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
With
I like how
a lot of the same footage.
Yep. I like how they brought in, Superman with his black suit on after he came back from the dead.
Yes, yeah,
That was dope. Yeah. They brought in Darkseid, even though they mentioned it before in the Joss Whedon version.
Yes.
They actually, in Zack Snyder, they actually showed Darkseid. Steppenwolf, they upgraded him too. That was that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the Flash movie that they have, that they're bringing in,
because Michael Keaton's returning as Batman.
But,
and more importantly, as the Batman he played years ago.
Okay.
He's still that Tim Burton universe Batman.
Okay.
And that's part of the they don't call it the multiverse. in DC. They call it something else.
Wait, no, they call it
Oh,
multiverse in
it's
DC.
multiverse, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, it's just moments like that yeah.
That you gotta appreciate. That I really appreciate as a comic fan. My favorite superhero from the DC universe is the Flash. I watched the show on the CW, and right then and there, I was like, "Oh yeah, the Flash. That's my guy right there." Like
Yeah.
I've seen all other, I watched, all other DC shows and movies, but the Flash like really stuck out to me the most for some reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for me, for some reason, for whatever reason, it's always been Superman and Batman. Probably because they're the most
the most, yeah,
well
like
known.
yeah,
But like my dad, as far back as I can remember, he had, it was Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. He had all those in a VHS pack,
hmm
and I watched them until the tapes broke, and he had to buy a whole new set of VHS tapes.
Mm.
Like as far back as I can remember, I knew who Batman was. So like that's probably why it's so prominent in my mind. But yeah, and I really liked Ben Affleck's Batman because he worked as Batman,
hmm
but then you also believed him as Bruce Wayne,
yeah,
and that's something that not all actors can do. Because like Christian Bale, I believed him as Batman, but like I didn't connect with him as Bruce Wayne.
okay,
Y-
I feel you on that,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's like, I think Christian Bale's the only Batman who actually like went back, with his origins from being trained by Ra's al
yeah,
Ghul
yeah,
in the
yeah,
League of Shadows.
yep.
All the other ones they don't really really mention
No,
it
no,
really.
yeah. They're like, my parents died, and
Yeah,
then I
bam.
trained myself,
Yeah, with
and now I'm Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
Because me and my friend we was talking about we saw like one of Tim Burton's Batman, the one with the penguin in it,
Yes.
and he asked me, he was did this also like have him like training with the League of Shadows? I was like,
No,
probably not
it
because
didn't.
that's the
No.
way the way that he's
Like back then, like I don't think that was a story arc that was well known.
yeah, because also it's kind of like a real dark story between Batman, how he
How
was
he,
trained by Ra's al
yeah,
Ghul, and I think with Tim Burton, we all know, if you know Tim Burton, he can get a little, his movies can be a little, wacky, but
wacky and dark,
yeah,
and
dark at
yeah,
the same time. But when they brought in, Christian Bale's Batman, they wanted to like have it as like a dark story.
yeah. But they also wanted it. It felt very grounded,
hmm
like it could happen. It wasn't like over the top, like this can't happen type thing.
Right.
So yeah, that was a choice by the director at the time. Oh, also, I have to give you props on knowing the director of the original Justice League, and you named him by name. And me being a movie buff, I couldn't even think of that. And you said it, and I was like, "Damn, Tazz is on it right now." All right, so I think, well, what else we got? We're gonna talk about video games, I think.
Yep.
All right, well, a weird time for video games. Um, two new consoles
Mm.
that are roughly a year into their life cycle, and nobody has them.
I don't. I really want the PS5.
Yeah, me too. It's a weird time because, um, COVID happening. They're not in the store. You've
Yeah,
got to order them
online.
online, which is weird, and I'm hoping that that'll go away soon. I'm sure it will, depending on what happens with variants and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a weird year. You've got the new Spider-Man game coming out. You've got the Wolverine game coming out, and those are going to be exclusive to PS5. Like you can't
yeah.
play them on PS4. So I'm really, and that's something that Sony's always had over Xbox is those exclusives.
hmm
God of War, Sly Cooper, and that Marvel Spider-Man game, which blew me away. Like
Yeah,
I love Spider-Man. To make that point, if I had to pick a favorite Marvel superhero, it's Spider-Man.
I'm just glad they have Marvel is letting my main man Wolverine get his own game.
Have his own game, presumably.
Yeah,
Free
presumably.
roam and open world.
Like Spider-Man.
Yes.
I'm liking that because my favorite character in all Marvel would have to be Wolverine.
Yeah,
like
Wolverine's...
I grew up watching the original X-Men movies.
Yes.
And Hugh Jackman really brought out Wolverine.
Yeah.
You can tell you believed him as Wolverine,
Yes.
Whereas you see him in any other movie,
you're like, hey,
that's Wolverine.
That's Wolverine.
That's Wolverine right there.
That's how you know you've made a character. Is when they see you in other movies and you're like, hey, Wolverine's in this.
Right. What's Wolverine doing in this movie? Like,
yeah, it's like he cut his hair.
Right. He made Wolverine.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I'm pretty sure, MCU can find, if Hugh Jackman didn't want to come back, so I'm getting off topic. But
it's fine. I mean, if this is a podcast of two friends talking, right. It's going to happen.
If the MCU were to find somebody to bring in if they're bringing the
MCU version of Wolverine, yeah,
they can find somebody who can play as Wolverine. But I'm not thinking, they're gonna be like the top tier as Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Right, they're gonna be like neck almost right there at him.
Yeah,
but they're not gonna surpass Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Even at their finest, they're just gonna be on his level. They're never gonna be better.
They can't.
But to see him, of course, there've been video game adaptations. Mm-hmm. I can think back to those video games that were based off the original movies.
Yeah,
because that used to be a thing years ago when a superhero movie came out. There was a video game version of that movie.
2 years, 2 years after the movie, or
it was normally right after the events of the movie happened, which doesn't happen anymore. Which I'm kind of
glad for because
then it gives those studios freedom to tell a story that doesn't have to correlate within the movie verse and all that kind of stuff. But we've seen Wolverine in video games. I'm just excited and looking forward to what they're going to do with this one because it was nothing more than a teaser. It was him in a bar. There was a bunch of people laid out, and then there's a guy sneaking up behind them, and then
the claws coming. I'm like,
but even that teaser was enough to get me excited because it's Wolverine.
But the teaser for the Spider-Man game got me
super
excited.
Like Venom
being voiced by Tony Todd. Am I saying it right?
Todd? I'm not sure on that one.
Tony Todd. I'm gonna stick with Tony Todd.
Okay.
If y'all think it's somebody, just comment under the
video. Oh, that's another thing, guys. This is going to be on YouTube. Obviously, you'll know that by now because you've been listening. But we've also got a Twitter set up. I don't know about doing a Facebook and everything else. I think we'll just stick it to Twitter.
Yeah.
But you guys can definitely share stuff for us to talk about pop culture wise on our Twitter or in the comments down below. But back to what you were saying.
I'm gonna stick with Tony. I'm gonna stick with Tony Todd as the dude who's voicing Venom. But we're also we're supposed to be getting Kraven the Hunter.
Yes, that was the person that was talking.
Okay,
throughout, and then at the end you heard Venom talk.
Yeah, because I couldn't really hear because I was at work. I was at work sneaking around, hearing the video, but I couldn't really hear who was talking. All I was looking at the video, and I saw Venom's face. I was like,
"Oh man,
boom, bam!" But
yeah. And then this one, you get to presumably you get to play as Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Because I know you said I don't know if you played the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah, I played Miles Morales.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Loved it. That was a great. And I knew it wasn't going to be a full game.
Yeah,
but it really got me behind Miles Morales, which I've always liked Miles Morales, especially in the Spider-Man Into the Multiverse movie. I'm just happy. I honestly. I hope we get to see an MCU version of Miles Morales soon.
I've heard some things that if you look at the video, the trailer, where Peter is standing on the bridge,
and
the lady behind him was supposed to be Miles Morales' mom.
Okay.
Peter saves him. Then Peter saves her, and then Miles
is inspired.
Inspired by. You know what I'm saying? Ah,
which, like, I don't know, in a way that's like, I feel like they have to wait
yeah.
because normally what they do is they have a more experienced, older Peter Parker
Hmm.
that then trains Miles
That's
Morales.
true. That's
But
true.
like right now, you have a young, unexperienced Peter Parker,
Hmm.
for the lack of a. I mean, he's only been Spider-Man for a few
Yeah,
years,
a few
and then most
years.
of that he was snapped.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it may be a little too early to introduce Miles Morales, or have them both not know what they're doing and figure it out together would also be
Hmm.
a great.
That would be good. That would be great.
Yeah, but yeah, presumably you get to play as both of them in this game against Venom and against Kraven the Hunter. And
Um.
then they teased Norman becoming Green Goblin
Yep.
in
And
the
the.
original one.
Yep.
But yeah, great game. I mean, that one just really blew me away because like these are stories that we've. I mean, it's kind of hard to have something original when it comes to superheroes and video games or
Hmm.
even movies because like most of it's been done in the comics.
Yeah.
But like the Spider-Man PS4 blew me away. It was like a story from what I can tell, kind of somewhat on its own, and it made you feel. At the end when Aunt May died, I remember like tearing up. I was
Right.
like, "Dang it!" And
I
like
was
the
like,
fact that she always knew that he was Spider-Man, I was like, "Oh my
ooh,
god,
yeah, it just
Aunt
hits you even
May!"
more. Yeah, it just hits you even more when she was like, oh, I sat there. I was like, this is. It made me tear up a little bit too.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
Yep.
it's just too much. This is too much for me.
Yeah.
Um, another game that I would like to talk about since I've been a long time fan of this is Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Yes.
NetherRealm Studios. They a couple years back they brought in Mortal Kombat 11,
Mm-hmm.
and that game amazing, great
Yeah.
storytelling too.
I think I've got that one. I think I got it on sale.
Yeah, and then part two, the aftermath version where they
Yep.
bring back Shang Tsung, Fujin, Night Wolf. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is my game right here.
Yeah.
I especially the game first came out, I mained Cabal. I mained the hell out of Cabal.
Mm-hmm.
But before all that, I was like, I'm not a huge fan of Fujin. But then when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, oh, I'm all for, I'm maining Fujin, I'm maining everybody. I just, Mortal Kombat, NetherRealm Studios like the MCU of video games.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't
Because
ever miss.
they also did Injustice 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And they also did, years ago, they did DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great games. Because Injustice 2 is part of Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they took from Mortal Kombat, the 11 system where, like, you get upgrades for your character and, like, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an incredible aspect of fighting game.
Yeah.
And, the Mortal Kombat movie they did earlier this year. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it a lot because I came in with mid expectations of it
Because it's a video game
movie.
Yeah,
but
you just got to.
it's better. It's way better than the second Mortal Kombat movie that they did.
The originals in the 90s.
But the first one, the first original one they did
was good.
Was good. Ain't nothing gonna top that one. But I'll say take the reboot and put it right behind the original one.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I stand with that. They did their thing with that. I'm glad that they're going to be bringing in Johnny Cage too for the second movie.
Possibly be The Miz.
I heard it could be either The Miz, Ryan Reynolds, and I forgot it was somebody else who would go great with Johnny Cage. But the main two is
great picks. I wouldn't be mad at either of those castings.
Right.
But what would be even funnier is if they had Ryan Reynolds play him, and then the Miz be like a stunt double for a scene. So
Yeah,
you could have both of them.
that's that would
That
be.
would that would be hilarious. But yeah, the movie, I didn't hate it. But like I remember that's around the time you started working with me.
Yeah.
Because guys, if you don't know, I mean we've only known each other for the better part of a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said a shared experiences can grow friendship quickly. And when you work at the same spot, we're not gonna name the spot,
Mm-hmm.
but when you deal with the same stuff every day, it grows a bond.
It can grow a bond like as if y'all do each other
Your whole life.
since y'all was
Yep.
kids. So,
But yeah, I remember that was like one of the first few things I ever talked to you about was Mortal Kombat, and you said, "I like it. I think you will too." You did not. You read me like a book on that one. I completely loved it.
yeah.
Yep.
And like I said, on the topic of the video games, I know NetherRealm Studios, they couldn't. I think they're making either the third Injustice
Mm-hmm.
or Mortal Kombat, the next Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah.
But I also heard, since they're WB is like like owns them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you were Warner Bros, you watch HBO Max, one specific cartoon that is on that show, that's on that streaming network, and it's Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Shaggy Rogers. They made so many memes about him being
the ultimate,
ultimate, in Mortal Kombat, where I'm thinking they're gonna be really serious about bringing in like a Super Smash Bros type S game and have Scooby-Doo characters in there.
Like
Shaggy,
Nickelodeon did that recently.
Yeah.
The Nickelodeon All Stars. I don't know if it released yet. I think it's supposed to release soon. But yeah, it's a Smash style fighter.
Yeah.
Which and Sony did it years ago. It was like PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah, they did.
But obviously Nintendo is the best version of that. But yeah, to have a Warner Brothers version of that where you would have the DC characters, you would have like classic cartoon characters like Johnny Bravo and Dexter, and then you would also have like people from Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be a crazy fighter game.
That's a game that if they do decide to make that,
Mm-hmm.
you can. My money's right here. Take my money right here. Just
take my money.
Like you can have every cent. Let that guy. If they would ever do that, I'm trying to tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm getting that game.
Yep.
I would love to get that game.
I'm getting it day one. I'm pre-ordering it. I'm standing in line.
First in line. I may not be first in line, but I'm gonna be in that line for sure.
For real. All right. Well, I think that's a good first episode, my man. I think we should wrap it up. And I think what we're gonna do at the end of every episode, we're gonna do a what moment of the week. So something in pop culture that made us go what this week. So I'll let you go first.
What moment in pop culture? I would have to say I watched John Wick yesterday, and
which one?
I watched all three of them.
All three of them.
I watched all three of them, but me and my friend started at the first one, and the what moment that got me was when the dude who killed this dog and stole his car, was just like okay, we went back to his dad, and his dad was like, "Do you know what you just done? Who you done this to?" He was like, "A nobody," and then his dad was like, "No, not just a nobody. It's John Wick. I saw him kill 3 guys in a bar with a pencil." And in that moment, I felt like the sun was like, "What?" That right there, that was the what moment for me. So
all right, that's a good one. Funny story. I've seen the third John Wick movie.
Mm-hmm.
Never watched the first two.
Oh.
I have the first two on Blu-ray. I bought it. I bought it the day I was supposed to go see John Wick 3 in theaters because all my friends were going that night, and I was like, well, I'm going too. And the idea was to watch 1 and 2, to have like a marathon that day. I was supposed to watch 1 and 2 and then go see 3. That's not how it worked out. So I watched 3 with no context, which 3, I mean, those are great films by themselves. It would have helped to get what was going on, but my friends kind of filled me in. But that's a great what moment. Mine is probably going to have to be Halloween Kills. When that mob mentality set in, because like I was watching it with my fiance, and I was like, they are gonna hurt this man, and he looks nothing like Michael. And I was like, hopefully that won't happen. And then the crowd was like, it's Michael. And I was like, what? And then like it kept getting worse. And then the daughter tried to protect him. And then he was scared and he jumped out the window. And I was like, that for me was like, what? like that was just, and like it was totally unexpected because you're watching a Halloween movie and like something like that happened. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So that was my moment when I was like, "There's no way this guy doesn't look like Michael. What is this town talking about?" And even Tommy was like, at first he was like, "Yeah, that's Michael. That's Michael." And then at the like almost like when he was falling through the air, he was like, "Oh no,
that's not Michael.
That's not Michael." Really? That doesn't help now, brother.
Come on, man. You could have been stopped that whole thing. You saw that wasn't Michael, but Tommy just...
Yeah, Tommy, yeah. Terrible character. I'm glad he died. So, all right. Yeah, we didn't really have an intro, and we haven't planned an outro. But guys, if there's anything you want us to talk about, like I said, comment down below, and then also reach out to us on Twitter. All that'll be in the description down below. But this has been the Tazz and Chris show, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Peace out.